Walking counts, gardening counts, and today I'm going to tell you why real exercise is actually a myth. When I meet with clients, I often hear things like, I know I should go to the gym, but I don't have time. Or I know I want to get back into running, but I just can't do it right now. If you've said something like that to yourself lately, you're not alone. Almost every woman I talk to says some version of that. Somewhere along the way, most of us absorb the idea that if it's not big, if it's not intense, it doesn't really count as exercise. I want to push back on that and make the case for you that you've been sold an incomplete story here. Movement, not exercise in that intense gym-based sense that you've probably pictured. Movement is actually the foundation your health is built on. If you're new here, I'm Julie Fikert. I'm a health and well-being coach, and this channel is for women who know what they want to do with their health but can't quite seem to make it happen in their real lives. You've probably heard some version of this your whole life. Real exercise means the gym. It means cardio that leaves you breathless, or weights heavy enough to shake, or a run that goes on for miles. And if you can't do that, or you don't have an hour to spare for it, the quiet conclusion you land on is that you might as well not bother. I understand exactly why you believe that. It's what we are shown constantly, right? Everywhere you look. It makes complete sense that you would internalize that. But it's not true. And I don't think it's fair to you. Walking around your neighborhood counts. Gardening counts. Playing tag with your kids in the backyard counts. Taking the stairs instead of the elevator counts. None of that is some sort of consolation prize for the workout you think you're supposed to be doing. It's legitimate movement, and it produces real, measurable benefits for your heart, your blood sugar, your mood, and your energy. And here's the thing that almost no one tells you. Even major health organizations have shifted their guidance on this. It used to be that exercise only counted if it happened in like these long continuous blocks and they had to be a certain intensity, right? You've probably heard that. Now the research is clear that movement spread throughout your day meaningfully lowers your risk for a number of chronic health conditions and improves how you feel. You don't need an hour at the gym to get a real benefit. You need to move your body in whatever form that takes for you today. Now, none of this means that intense exercise is bad. If you love CrossFit, or you love lifting heavy weights, or you love running, or whatever it is, you can keep doing it. But if you can't, that's okay. That heavy, intense exercise cannot be the only option on the table, because for most women, it's not where things start. It's where they can eventually lead if you want them to. But it's not necessarily where you'll start. The walking, the gardening, the everyday movement, that is the foundation everything else gets built on. But building that foundation only works if you actually keep doing it. And whether you keep doing it comes down to something surprisingly simple: whether you enjoy it. Here's what I've learned from working with clients. The movement that lasts is never the movement you think you're supposed to be doing. It's always the movement that feels good to you. So maybe that's going for a walk after dinner with your partner. Or maybe that's yard work on a Saturday morning, or taking the stairs instead of the elevator, or doing a phone call while you're walking around instead of sitting down. The specifics, they don't matter so much. What matters is that you are not forcing yourself into some prescribed form of movement that makes you miserable. Your preferences actually matter here. Movement does not have to feel like a punishment. And let's get real. The thing you'll actually stick with week after week is the thing that doesn't feel like a burden. It's the thing that makes you feel good, or connects you with someone you love, or gives you that little bit of time outside. That's the movement worth doing. Finding movement you actually enjoy is a huge piece of this. But then even movement you love typically needs a plan, right, to actually become part of your life. And that part is harder to do alone than you might think. I know that if you've tried and failed to make movement stick before, what I'm about to say might sound almost too simple to work. You've probably tried harder plans than this one. You've probably had more willpower, more determination behind other attempts. So I understand if part of you is like skeptical of what I'm about to say here. But this is what I've learned working with clients. This is exactly what I help them figure out in these first few weeks together. We start by getting honest about what small step would actually work in their real life. Not what they think they should do, not what looks impressive, just what would realistically happen this week, even if everything else falls apart. Something that feels almost too easy. Maybe it's a 10-minute yoga video. Maybe it's a walk around the block. Maybe it's parking further away or taking the stairs. The point is not to impress anyone, right? The point is to make something small enough that it actually happens. And then here's the part that tends to make the real difference. We check in the next week. We talk about what worked, what didn't work, and what we learned. There's no judgment in that conversation. There's no failure. It's only information. And based on what actually happened in their real life, we adjust together. So maybe they add 5 more minutes, or maybe they try something different. Maybe they realize a different time of day works better for them. We keep getting specific about what works for them, one small adjustment at a time. This isn't about staying in like a small step place forever. It's not about doing this alone the way you've done it before. It's about building something that's sustainable, that can grow with you at your own pace, with someone in your corner the whole way. Some of my clients start with a walk around the block and eventually find themselves at a weekly yoga class, or out in the garden regularly, or moving in ways that genuinely feel good to them. Not because they forced it, but because we built it slowly enough together that it actually stuck. All right, so let's bring this all together. Movement counts no matter what form it takes. The movement that actually sticks is the movement you enjoy. And finally, the way to build something sustainable is to start small, adjust as you go, and have someone helping you figure out what works in your real life. When you actually do that, something shifts. Your body stops fighting you and starts working with you. You get up off the couch without that groan. You reach the end of the afternoon without needing to lie down. You garden for an hour and your back does not punish you for it the next day. You notice you have energy left over at dinner instead of running on fumes by 4 p.m. And because your body actually feels like something you can trust instead of something you're battling, you find yourself saying yes more easily to a walk, or to time outside, or to the small things that make up an ordinary good day. This is not about transforming into some sort of athlete or into someone else, right? It's about learning to show your body the same kindness and patience you show to everyone around you. It's about moving in a way that feels like taking care of yourself, not punishing yourself. When you do that, everything changes. If you're watching this and you're recognizing yourself in that story about movement not counting unless it's hard, I want you to know there's a way through this that doesn't require you to force yourself into a workout you dread. This is exactly what working together looks like. We start by getting honest about what small step would actually fit your real life, not what some influencer on the internet told you. We plan it out together so there's no guesswork and no wondering if you're doing it right. And every single week we check in, celebrate what worked, adjust what didn't, until movement becomes just something that's part of your life. You don't have to do this alone. You don't have to figure it out alone. You don't have to overhaul your whole life to start feeling better in your body. If you're ready to talk about what that could look like for you, I'd love to have that conversation. You can book a free 30-minute call with me directly. The link is in the description below. If you're not quite there yet, all good. You can grab my free workbook. It's a great place to start, and it's also linked in the description. Thanks for spending time with me today. And as you go out in the world, please be as kind to your body as you are to everyone else.